What's up, everybody? It is I, the JUICEman3941, coming to you from Unpaid Gamers. This is the Gaming Roundtable, episode 13, entitled Blacklisted Prince. I want to talk about this particular subject because I've been thinking about it the last couple of days, and I've been trying to wrap my head around this particular channel. There's a channel that, for one, I want to point out I'm not subscribed to, but I do watch here and there. I don't watch it on the reg, but I watch enough of it. And why I'm not subscribed, I'm not sure. Or maybe I am subscribed, I just forgot about it a long time ago, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. And it's called Clean Prince Gaming. And now, anyone that knows Clean Prince who might watch this particular video, if you have a comment or you watch Clean Prince video, I'm going to ask you to send a link to this video because this specifically addresses him. I want to say, number one, I think his channel is informative and well put together and well thought out. It's a lot better than mine, which mine's just a broadcast with a mic, which is just my PS, headphone mic, and just, me playing some game in the background. Usually, if I have a subject to talk about, it's usually Evolve. I want to point out that I don't have anything against the guy, personally. Don't know him. I'm glad he's having success on YouTube, and that he has 100,000 plus subscribers, 200,000, however he has, and he can make money doing it. And I think that's really great, considering that I think he lives in New York, and it costs a lot of money to live there, so more power to you there. But apparently one of his recent videos was that he got blacklisted from from getting review copies of games. I think more or less he was blacklisted from Electronic Arts, our friends at EA. Well, they're not my friends, but you know what I mean. And he specifically said the reason he was blacklisted, or at least one of the reasons, mainly is from a couple YouTube channels, Skill Up, which I don't know Skill Up. I've actually never watched any of his videos. I'm not subscribed to their channel, and apparently he does unbiased reviews, and again, that's great. I'm glad that person is successful in YouTube. And he also mentions the Quartering, which I do watch because they do a lot of really good game news. He does. He broke the Apex Legends thing first, and when that game came out of left field, and the Quartering does a good job. And again, I watch his channel. I'm not subscribed. I think he does a great job on his channel. He's successful, and I wish him, more success in the future with YouTube. On the other hand, with my 21 subs, are nobody, and on the bottomest barrel of the totem as you can get. But I feel like that the Gaming Roundtable, however, tells it straight, always will, and always have. What I'm going on about is that Clean Prince Gaming mentioned that Skill Up and I guess the Quartering, because of the nature of their videos, whether Skill Up does bad reviews because the game is bad, or he's more critical of said review. And the Quartering, is critical of certain game companies and or developers and things that come out. He sort of inadvertently blames them for him getting blacklisted. I saw the Quartering's response. I felt it was a good response. It made sense. Like he said, that review copies aren't really relevant anymore. I don't review games personally, but Clean Prince, I think you should never blame other YouTubers for your own actions. Now, I want to say this because it's really important for you to understand that Clean Prince does a series of videos called The Murdering of whatever. It could be the murdering of Evolve. He did one on this game. He did the murder of DayZ, the murder of Division, the murder of No Man's Sky, the murder of Rainbow Six, the murder of this game and that game and Tom Clancy's and this and that, and a bunch of different games, No Man's Sky included. Games that some I actually really like. He talked about it, and it's very well thought out and informative. Now, the early videos, up until recently, were someone else's footage. Now, he never said that it was his footage. He never said it wasn't, but he was taking footage because some YouTuber pointed this out, and now every video that he puts out prefaces that all gameplay captured by me. Because you have to do that. You shouldn't be taking other people's videos, gameplays, just to talk over them. That's why I use Evolve, because Evolve here will run in the background the whole time. And you can see some of the gameplay and combat and creatures and things, and it's just a endless loop of this stuff, but it shows you some things, and I can talk while this runs in the background. Now, Clean Prince, you know, one of the biggest things with his channel with these murder videos, some of the games that he talks about, games like The Division, which he refers to as an MMO light, which it is, and some other games are live service games. These are games that are designed to come out and give you X amount of content, but over the period of time will get better and better and better, because they're going to keep adding to it, adding to it, and adding to it. You can't make a video like the murdering of Division, or the murdering of Rainbow Six Siege, or the murdering of some game that's considered a live service game. And the reason you can't is because you should know that in the beginning it's not going to be the best game it is. Division is really good now, but it wasn't always so, and it took a good year and a half to almost 2 years to get up to where even the first one is actually really good. And I've gone back into it of recent and just found myself really impressed with the overall, still maintaining the core feel of Division, but adding so much that they did. And the reason that you can't say this game is these murder videos, because you talk incredibly negative. I mean, incredibly negative about these games. You talk about the gameplay, the graphics, the netcoding, everything you can to kind of show that they dropped the ball in this game. Now, you have done other murder video series on games that are not necessarily live service games, and you wonder what's happened to it. From the you did one on Need for Speed franchise, you did one on, you know, the NBA 2K series. You've done a couple of those, and you've done different ones, and Battlefront and stuff like that from EA. Now, you also, though, have turned around, however, sometimes in a matter of a week. You did this with Anthem recently. You did a video called Anthem, Please Don't Do This, and you talked very, I wouldn't say, you were just talking mainly to trying to get to the developer. You were saying things that I felt like was very negative. You didn't have a whole lot positive to say about the game. I did a video on Anthem and talked very positively about it and looked past its flaws, because that's what I do. You know, I don't need the game to be 100%, because like everyone else, they want the game to come out and be perfect, and that's just not possible. Human beings make the games and program them. We're flawed and fallible. So's our games. People just can't accept things, I guess. And that's a video for another time. Actually, I did a video called Acceptance. Just go look that one up. You also, you know, then a week later put out a video like, oh my goodness, Anthem just decided to do this, and it was like this positive thing. And you've done this with The Division. It was like a big gap between videos, I think maybe a year and a half, where you put, OMG, has Division made the greatest comeback ever? And then you talked incredibly good about the game. You did the same thing with No Man's Sky. You did the murder of No Man's Sky, and then you went back to it after you heard some changes. You went in there and you went, holy shit, look what No Man's Sky has become. And you talked really good about it. You still said some critical things, but more or less, I'd say 90% of your video was very glowing on it. You know, developers, EA probably blacklisted you. Ubisoft may have blacklisted you. I don't know who else, but I think more specifically EA, because you always put out these murder of videos, or you talk, or if it's not that, you talk about some essay about that game or game developer or game publisher, and you speak very, very poorly of them. I don't even think in your Battlefront 2 video you could sit there and say everything about Battlefront 2 is terrible. You could say, I don't like the gameplay, the guns feel shitty, everything plays bad, bad net coding, I hate the microtransactions. This was at launch. You could say all these things about that game, and many of which may or may not be true, but you have to admit that the graphical fidelity of Star Wars Battlefront 2 was on point. Very few games still right now look as good as that game, and to sit here and to not even mention that shows that your video was designed to point out the worst of the worst of the worst. that the game because you didn't like something or whatever. You know, the quartering and skill up had nothing to do whatsoever with you getting blacklisted. You have enough subs where developers and or publishers are looking at your videos to see what you talk about, and they're looking at you and they're listening to you. They might listen to you a couple times and they might think, wow, all this guy does is completely shit all over everything we do. So let's not give him review copies, because he might be taking that review copy solely on the fact to troll us or to say really bad negative things about us. The quartering has nothing to do with you being blacklisted. Skill up, which you say is your friend and you talk to all the time, had nothing to do with you being blacklisted. Go back and look at your own videos and you can see why you were blacklisted. But you also come back, like I said, either a week, month, or a year later with, holy shit, look what this game I was shitting all over has now become. You did one on For Honor. You said the murder of For Honor, and then you turned around and said, has For Honor made the greatest comeback? Has Division made the greatest comeback? Has Rainbow Six Siege made the greatest comeback? You didn't even like the game at launch, and then you turned around and did the greatest comeback, Rainbow Six Siege, and you say it's one of the greatest shooters you've ever played. The problem with that is that you went back to that game because probably someone said, hey, you should check it out. It's absolutely amazing now. And you went back and was like, oh my god. And you did a whole nother video because now you have to kind of redeem the fact that you did do another video previously in the past that's shit all over it. It's a problem for your channel to do that. I watch your channel based on the fact that I find it informative and enlightening and sometimes entertaining. You're not like funny in a way that makes me laugh like the Act Man makes me laugh, because he just cracks me up. But it's like, or Angry Joe, or even Jim Sterling. But your channel, to put out videos that specifically points out everything that went wrong in development, everything that went wrong at launch, everything that's bad about the game, everything that's terrible about the netcode, all the bugs, and everything you talk about in these murder of videos, and some videos are not necessarily titled that, but are in a similar vein, you just taking a complete and total dump all over that. If I was a developer who I knew for a fact that, you know, this isn't a live service game, but we will update it, it will get better, I wouldn't give you a review copy. Mainly because you're already insanely critical of the game just by either you playing a friend's copy or you just watching videos. Sometimes I don't know if you actually physically go out and buy a copy of the game. I buy all my games, right? Unpaid Gamers, a couple years ago, was kind enough to give me a code for 7 Days to Die. That game is shit. And but I got a free code, and it was nice. I was still very grateful for that code, but the game is pretty terrible. It's not real fun for being what they charge for it. I want to say though that that's the only time I never really paid for a game, unless somebody bought me a game, you know, for Christmas or a birthday or something, right? But having said that, all my games I buy, and I pay either get them when they're on sale, and a few I pay full price for. You did bad and terrible negative things on Destiny, and then turned around and talked about it. Oh my god, look what Destiny's become, it's good again. It's like you're either really taking a shit all over the games at first, but then coming back to them later and then realizing, oh, they've done all this cool stuff, now I like it. If I was a publisher, again, I would blacklist you too, because I can't take the chance that, did you really buy the game? And if you haven't, considering that your early videos, you were taking video footage from other people, meaning you weren't playing the game because you didn't own that game. And if those videos don't count anymore to me, because when I found that out, I was thinking, you talk like you played the Division, but you didn't play the Division because you took someone else's videos to show and implied that it was your gameplay, meaning that you didn't really play it, or if you did play it, you played it for a very short stint. And it's just one of my examples. I would blacklist you simply because I can't take the risk, because I see that you are the type of person that if there's issues with the game, even if there's some developmental issues, that you want to just shit all over the game, you know. And why would I want to give you a free copy of a game that you don't deserve if you're just going to make a video that just does nothing but destroy that game? And you might have a couple million subs, and they'll tell this person and that person, and that just makes that ball spiral. But what's worse is the fact that you actually indirectly blame the quartering and skill up for your own blacklisting, and that is wrong to do that. You know, that would be like you blaming me that Ubisoft doesn't give you any more titles. Well, that Gaming Roundtable, all he ever does, that JUICEman, is really shit all over Ubisoft all the time. He's always talking negative about that company because of their decisions and their game decisions that they make. I've also stated that I also own Assassin's Creed Syndicate. I own Starlink Battle for Atlas. I own Tom Clancy's Wildlands. I own Rainbow Six Siege, which I got at launch. I've watched that grow. I also own Tom Clancy's Division. I own a lot of the games that they make. I own Steep. You know, I own a large variety of games from them. And I own them because I've also stated that as much as I hate a lot of the ways that they develop their games, that they kind of bare bones them or they don't give us enough content, they always have a really good, what I call gimmick or hook. You know, I own Watch Dogs 2, Watch Dogs 1. They always have a really good hook. And every time I see videos on them play them, it makes me kind of want to play them myself. Like, man, I'd like to play that For Honor. I'd like to play Wildlands now. I thought Wildlands was boring in the beta. I thought the first few months of it was boring, and then it just really expanded, and now it's a much better game than it was. Division is much better than it was, especially now. For Honor, leaps and bounds over what it was. And so even though I hate the way they do that, I still buy them. And yes, I do fault them for the way that they do their development cycle and how they put the games out. But that'd be like you saying, well, that Gaming Roundtable, because he talks negative about Ubisoft on many different occasions. Because of him, I can't get free games from Ubisoft. You know, that's just not how that works. You know, that's not how that works. No game company in their right mind would give anybody that has influence over YouTube, if they've watched your videos and all you've done is really, really take a dump on them, especially the videos where you were using someone else's video footage, which means that you may have not even played the game. Because in a lot of your earlier murder videos, you actually never state that you actually played the game. So it's a trust thing. And so that's why I think you being blacklisted, to me, is a good thing. Because for you to blame 2 other channels for your troubles because you made the videos that took terrible shots at these games and said a lot of negative stuff and almost no positivity stuff, especially in your Murder Up series, then you deserve to blacklist. You just do. You deserve it because you said bad things about it. And coming back a year later, or 2 years later, or 6 months later, or 3 weeks later, or 2 days later with a follow-up video talking, then reversing your entire thought process and saying now the game's really good and this and that, and you talk all this good about it, that's like, to me, seems like damage control. It's either that or you don't research enough, and then you have to follow up with another video to go like, oh, I was wrong. You don't say you're wrong, but, you know. You have a couple of videos where you have said I was wrong about so-and-so game. You did that with Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves is trash, has been trash, still is trash. And the consensus even now is that it's still not that great. It's just, my point is that you being blacklisted is you're directly responsible for your content. You are. They think you put out negative and poisonous content, then they're probably, and to be honest with you, I think they're right if all they watch is your murder series. And it's sad to me that you would blame the quartering and skill up for your woes. And it's just plain wrong. This has been episode 13 of the Gaming Roundtable, brought to you by Unpaid Gamers. Please subscribe to Unpaid Gamers. Please subscribe to the Gaming Roundtable. And I will see you all in the next episode of the Gaming Roundtable. This is the Juice Man signing off. And as always, gamers, good gaming.